Captain Lisa Morgan stared at the empty space ahead of her ship. The stars looked peaceful tonight, like tiny diamonds scattered across black velvet. She had been doing this job for 15 years, and she still found the view beautiful. The transport vessel Meridian hummed softly around her, a comfortable sound that meant everything was working as it should. Coming out of faster than light in 30 seconds. "Captain," Danny Rodriguez said from the pilot's seat. His hands moved across the controls with easy confidence. Danny was young, maybe 25, but he was the best pilot Lisa had ever worked with. "Good. Keep us steady," Lisa said. She turned to her first officer, Jake Sullivan, who stood at the tactical station. "Any signs of our escort?" Jake checked his screens. "Nothing yet. But we're early. The Vrekath ship should be here in about 10 minutes. Lisa nodded. The mission had been going well so far. 3 months of traveling to meet with the Vrekath Collective, one of the most powerful alien races in this part of the galaxy. The Vrekath wanted to talk about trade and peace. Earth needed both. It seemed like a good deal for everyone. "Drop us out, Danny," Lisa ordered. The Meridian shuddered slightly as it slowed down from impossible speeds to normal space. The view outside changed. More stars appeared, and then something else. 6 large shapes hung in the darkness ahead of them. "Vrekath ships," Jake announced. Then his voice changed. "Captain, those aren't escort vessels. Those are warships. Battle formation." Lisa felt her stomach drop. Something was very wrong. "Shields up. Danny, be ready to move us." The bridge suddenly felt colder. Dr. Amy Carter, who had been checking medical supplies near the back wall, moved closer. "Lisa, what's happening?" Before Lisa could answer, the 6 Vrekath warships lit up. Weapons charging. Every single gun pointed at the Meridian. "They're locking weapons on us," Jake said, his voice tight. "All of them." "Captain, they're going to fire. No warning. No communication. No explanation. Just death coming fast across the empty space between them." Lisa's mind went crystal clear. This was an execution. The Vrekath had lied. They had brought a small, unarmed human transport ship out into the middle of nowhere to kill it quietly. They probably thought humans were easy prey, slow, weak, unable to fight back. They were about to learn something new about humanity. Combat alert now. Lisa's voice cut through the bridge like a knife. Alarms started screaming. Red lights bathed everything in blood-colored shadows. "Danny, evasive pattern Delta 7, full burn, take us down negative Z-axis. Jake, return fire at their lead ship, starboard launcher. Karen, I need you in engineering right now." Karen Walsh's voice crackled over the intercom from the engine room. "I'm already here, Captain." "What do you need?" "Power, all of it. Pull from life support if you have to." The crew moved. No questions. No hesitation. They had trained for this moment even though they had hoped it would never come. Lisa watched her screens as 6 Vrekath ships began their attack run. Torpedoes launched. Energy weapons started to glow. She had maybe 23 seconds before the first weapon hit them. 23 seconds to save her ship and her crew. Her heart was pounding. She could feel it in her chest, in her throat, behind her eyes. Adrenaline flooded through her veins like fire. Everything seemed sharper now. She could see every detail on her screens. She could hear every voice on the bridge with perfect clarity. Her hands were steady as stone. This was what humans were built for. Not the quiet moments. Not the peace. This, the desperate fight for survival when death was coming and there was no time to think, only to act. "Torpedoes incoming, 15 seconds, Jake called out. His fingers flew across his controls, inputting targeting data faster than most people could read. "Danny, how fast can you move us?" Lisa asked. "Fast enough," Danny said. His jaw was set, his eyes locked on his displays. The Meridian started to drop, thrusters firing at maximum power. The ship groaned under the strain, but it moved. Lisa studied the Vrekath formation. 6 ships in a loose circle trying to surround them. But there, right there between the second and third ship on the left side, a gap, small, maybe 1 degree of arc, but it was there. Danny, new heading. Mark 372, up 5 degrees. Take us through that gap between those 2 ships. "Captain, that's tight," Danny said. "I know. Can you do it?" Danny's hands moved before he answered. "Yes, ma'am." "Jake, fire everything at that lead ship's weapon pod. I want it gone." The Meridian's railguns opened up. Tungsten rounds, each one moving at a fraction of the speed of light, crossed the distance in seconds. They hit the Vrekath lead ship's right side weapons pod and tore it apart. Metal exploded into space. The Vrekath ship spun slightly, knocked off course. 5 seconds to impact, Jake said. The Meridian dove and rolled. Danny's hands moved like he was playing music, each touch perfectly timed. The ship threaded through the gap between the two Vrekath warships, just as their torpedoes reached the spot where the Meridian had been. The torpedoes collided with each other. Massive explosions lit up space behind them. The blast wave hit the Meridian's shields and rattled the whole ship. But they were through. They were alive. Status, Lisa demanded. Shields at 60%. Hull intact. No serious damage, Jake reported. Keep moving, Danny. Karen, how's my engine? Angry but working, Karen's voice came back. I can give you faster than light speed in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes might as well be forever. The Vrekath ships were turning, coming after them. But they were slower now. Cautious. Confused. Their perfect ambush had turned into a fight, and they had not expected that. Lisa saw her chance. The Vrekath command ship, the largest one, was turning its broadside to them. A mistake. They thought the small human ship was running. They were wrong. Jake, full spread of torpedoes. Target that command ship. Hit their bridge if you can. Captain, if we fire everything, we'll be defenseless, Jake said. They think we're prey. Let's show them what prey with teeth looks like. Fire. The Meridian's torpedo tubes opened. Every weapon they had launched at once. The torpedoes streaked across space, leaving bright trails behind them. The Vrekath command ship tried to turn, tried to bring its shields around, but it was too late. 3 torpedoes hit the command ship's bridge section. Explosions blossomed along its hull. Lights flickered and died. The massive ship went dark and started to drift. Karen, tell me you have faster than light ready, Lisa said. Charging now. 10 seconds. The other Vrekath ships stopped their pursuit. They were regrouping around their damaged command ship. Lisa could almost feel their shock from across the empty space. They had expected an easy kill. They had gotten a fight they had not prepared for. 23 seconds. That was all it had taken. 23 seconds from ambush to survival. The Vrekath had studied humans. They had watched and planned. They had calculated that humans would need at least 19 seconds just to react to a surprise attack. They had been wrong, because they had not understood what humans really were. Persistence hunters, a species that evolved by chasing prey until it collapsed. A species that could push past pain and fear when survival demanded it. A species that thought fastest when death was closest. Faster than light drive ready. Captain, Karen announced, jump us out. Danny, anywhere but here. The Meridian leaped forward and disappeared into faster than light space. Behind them, the Vrekath ships watched them go. And for the first time in their long history, the Vrekath felt something new when they thought about humans. Fear. The Meridian shook as it traveled through faster than light space. Lisa could hear metal groaning somewhere deep in the ship. That was not a good sound. She looked at Jake, who was checking damage reports on his screen. How bad is it? She asked. Jake scrolled through the information. His face was calm, but Lisa had known him for 8 years. She could see the worry in his eyes. Hull damage on decks 3 and 5. Nothing critical yet. Shields took a beating, they are down to 40%. The faster-than-light drive is working, but Karen says it's not happy. Is anything on this ship happy right now? Danny asked from the pilot seat. His voice was trying to be light, but his hands were shaking slightly on the controls. The adrenaline was wearing off now, and the fear was catching up. We're alive, Lisa said. That makes me pretty happy. Amy moved around the bridge, checking each crew member quickly. She pressed a small device against Danny's neck, read the display, and nodded. Everyone's okay up here. I need to check the rest of the crew. Go, Lisa said. Take someone with you. We don't know if we have any internal damage that could be dangerous. Amy grabbed a medical kit and left with one of the security officers. Lisa turned back to her screens. They were moving fast through faster-than-light space, but they could not run forever. Eventually they would have to stop, and when they did, the Vrekath might be waiting. Jake, did you get any of their communications during the fight? Jake nodded. Some of it. The universal translator is working on it now. He paused, listening to something through his earpiece. His face went pale. Captain, you need to hear this. He put the audio on the bridge speakers. Vrekath voices filled the air, harsh and clicking. Then the translator kicked in, turning the alien sounds into words Lisa could understand. Target escaped. Repeat, human vessel escaped. 4 ships pursuing. Command ship damaged, admiral wounded. Requesting new orders from High Command. Another voice answered. High Command acknowledges. Continue pursuit. The humans cannot be allowed to return to their territory. This operation must remain secret. Kill them all. The communication ended. The bridge was silent except for the humming of the ship's engines. It was official, Jake said quietly. This was not some rogue group. The Wrecketh High Command ordered this. They wanted us dead. Lisa felt cold anger building in her chest. The Wrecketh had invited Earth to talk about peace, and then they had tried to murder everyone on this ship. Why? What did they gain from it? They studied us, she said, thinking out loud. They watched humans for months before inviting us out here. They thought they knew everything about us. They thought we would be easy to kill. They were wrong, Danny said. Yeah, and now they know they were wrong. That's going to make them dangerous. Lisa pulled up a star chart. We can't go straight back to Earth. If we do, we will lead them right to our colonies. We need to lose them first. Where can we go? Jake asked. We're in the middle of nowhere. The nearest human outpost is 3 weeks away, and we will never make it that far with the Wrecketh chasing us. Lisa studied the star chart. There were not many options. Most of this region was empty space, a few dead planets, some asteroid fields, and then she saw it, a red zone on the map marked with warnings. The dead stars, she said. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at her. The dead stars was a name that made experienced spacers nervous. It was a region of space filled with the remains of ancient civilizations, old weapons that still worked, navigation hazards that could tear a ship apart, spatial anomalies that made sensors useless. Every ship that had gone into the dead stars in the last 200 years had never come back out. Captain, that's suicide, Jake said. We would be trading a quick death for a slow one. Maybe, Lisa agreed. But the Wrecketh won't follow us in there. Their ships are too big, too expensive. They will wait outside for us to come back out. And when we don't come out? Danny asked. Then we will be the first ship that does, Lisa said. She looked around the bridge at her crew. I'm not going to order you to follow me. This is dangerous, probably more dangerous than what we just survived. But if we try to run, the Wrecketh will hunt us down. If we go back to Earth, we bring war to our colonies. The dead stars might kill us, but at least we have a chance. Jake was the first to speak. I'm with you, Captain. Same here, Danny said. One by one, the rest of the bridge crew agreed. Lisa felt pride warm her chest. These were good people, brave people, the kind of crew that made her job worth doing. Karen, can the ship handle the dead stars? Lisa asked over the intercom. There was a long pause. Then Karen's voice came back, sounding tired but determined. Probably not. But I'll make it work anyway. That's my job. That's what I wanted to hear. Danny, set course for the dead stars, best speed. The Meridian turned, heading toward the red zone on the map. Behind them, 4 Wrecketh warships were still coming, still hunting. But they were falling behind now. The human ship was smaller, faster, and more desperate. Amy returned to the bridge an hour later. She looked exhausted. We have 12 injured crew members. Nothing life-threatening, but they will need rest. And everyone is scared, Lisa. They want to know what's happening. Get on the ship-wide communication and tell them, Lisa said. Tell them the truth. The Wrecketh tried to kill us. We survived. Now we're going somewhere dangerous to keep them from following us home. Tell them I'm going to get us through this. Amy nodded and moved to the communication station. Her voice soon echoed through every deck of the ship, calm and steady. Lisa listened to her explain the situation. She did not sugarcoat it. She told the crew exactly how much danger they were in. When Amy finished, Lisa took the microphone. This is Captain Morgan. Dr. Carter told you the facts. Now I'm going to tell you something else. The Wrecketh thought we would be easy prey. They thought humans were slow and weak. They gave us 23 seconds to die. We used those 23 seconds to make them regret ever pointing a weapon at us. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. We're going into the dead stars, I won't lie to you. It's dangerous, but we're humans. We're the species that learned to survive in every environment on Earth. We're the species that looked at the stars and decided to go there. We're the species that never gives up. The dead stars have killed every ship that went in there. Fine, we'll be the first ones to come back out. Morgan out, she put down the microphone. Jake was smiling. Nice speech, Captain. Think it helped? I think they believe in you. That's worth more than any speech. The Meridian continued toward the dead stars. On the sensors, Lisa could see the Wrecketh ships still following, but they were getting farther away. They were still broadcasting, still trying to coordinate their hunt. Jake continued to monitor their communications. Captain, the Wrecketh just sent a message back to their homeworld, Jake said. His voice was strange. What did they say? Jake looked at her. They said, and I quote, "Humans are not what we believed. Recommend immediate military escalation." Lisa felt her stomach sink. They're going to attack Earth. It sounds like it. They're scared of us now, and scared people do stupid things. We have to warn Earth, Lisa said. As soon as we get through the dead stars, we send a message. Give them time to prepare. If we get through the dead stars, Danny said quietly. When we get through, Lisa corrected. I don't plan on dying today, or tomorrow, or any day soon. The ship began to shake more violently. On the main screen, the view was changing. The normal stars were disappearing, replaced by something else. Twisted space. Dead suns that glowed with wrong colors. The remains of massive structures floating in the void, so old that no one knew what they had been. Entering the dead stars region, Danny announced. Sensors are going crazy. I have maybe 50% visibility. Take it slow, Lisa ordered. We survive by being careful now. Behind them, the Rekath ship stopped at the edge of the dead stars. They did not enter. They just waited and watched as the human ship disappeared into the graveyard of civilizations. On the Rekath command ship, the Admiral watched the Meridian vanish into the sensor dead zone. His wounds were bandaged, but they still hurt. The human ship had done that. One small transport vessel against 6 warships, and the humans had escaped. Send message to the fleet, the Admiral ordered. Humans are more dangerous than intelligence reports indicated. They react faster than predicted. They fight when they should run. They adapt instantly to changing situations. Recommend treating them as a primary threat. His officers looked nervous. Recommending a full military response against a new species was a serious step. It meant war. But they had all seen what the humans did in those 23 seconds. They had all felt the shock when the human ship fought back instead of dying quietly. Send the message, the Admiral repeated, and pray to the old gods that we can kill them before they learn to fight back for real. The war lasted 6 months. 6 months of fighting, of losses, of victories that cost too much and defeats that taught hard lessons. But humanity learned fast. That was the one thing the Vrekath had not counted on. Humans adapted faster than any species the Vrekath had ever fought. The Meridian became famous during those months. Other ships got the Forerunner upgrades too, but Lisa and her crew were the first. They became specialists in impossible situations. When a colony needed rescue, they called the Meridian. When a Rekath battle group needed to be stopped, they called the Meridian. When someone needed to prove that humans could not be pushed around, they called Lisa Morgan. She was offered promotions, admiral positions, safe assignments far from the fighting. She turned them all down. Her crew stayed with her. Danny at the helm, Jake at weapons, Amy in medical, Karen in engineering. They had started this together, and they would finish it together. The Vrekath learned to fear them. There were stories told among Rekath ship captains about the small human vessel that appeared from nowhere and disappeared just as fast. About the human captain who never retreated, who always found a way to win. The stories grew with each battle, becoming legends. But Lisa knew the truth. She was not superhuman. None of them were. They were just people doing their best with what they had. And what they had was enough. The turning point came at a place humans called the Gateway. It was a strategic point in space, a region where 3 important travel routes met. Control the Gateway, and you controlled access to 12 human colonies. The Vrekath knew this. They sent their biggest fleet to take it, 30 Vrekath warships, the largest force they had assembled since the war began. Against them, Earth sent everything they could spare. 20 human ships, all equipped with Forerunner technology, now all ready to fight. The Meridian was there, of course. Lisa would not have missed it. The battle started at dawn, though there is no real dawn in space. The Vrekath came in confident, certain that their numbers would win the day. They had learned to respect human weapons, but they still believed that enough ships could overwhelm any defense. They were wrong. The human fleet did not fight like the Rekath expected. They did not form neat battle lines or engage in predictable patterns. They fought like humans fight. Creative, unpredictable, willing to try things that seemed crazy because crazy sometimes worked. Lisa led a group of 5 ships in a maneuver that should have been suicide. They charged straight at the Vrekath center, making the aliens think they were going to ram. The Vrekath formation opened up to let them through, planning to close the trap behind them. Instead, at the last second, all 5 human ships scattered in different directions, each one targeting a different Vrekath vessel. The disruption beams fired at point-blank range, cutting through shields before the Vrekath could react. 5 warships went dark in 5 seconds. Another human group used a different tactic. They hid behind an asteroid field and used it as cover, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. The Vrekath fired at shadows while human weapons found real targets. A third group did something that made the Vrekath admirals question their understanding of physics. They linked their ships together with tractor beams and spun in formation, creating a moving fortress that could fire in every direction at once while being almost impossible to hit. The battle lasted 8 hours. At the end, 15 Vrekath ships were destroyed or disabled. The rest retreated. The human fleet lost 3 ships and had 7 more damaged. It was not an easy victory. Good people died that day, but it was a victory. The Vrekath High Command met after the Gateway battle. They had lost before, but never like this. Never so completely. Never against a force they outnumbered. The debate lasted for 3 days. Some wanted to continue the war. Others wanted to negotiate. A few wanted to retreat and never contact humans again. In the end, they chose negotiation, not because they wanted peace, but because they realized they could not win. Humans were too adaptable, too creative, too stubborn to quit. The peace talks happened on a neutral space station. The Vrekath sent their best diplomats. Earth sent several representatives. And at the Vrekath's specific request, they sent Captain Lisa Morgan. Lisa walked into the negotiation room wearing her uniform, clean and proper. She looked at the Vrekath delegation. These were the people who had ordered her death, who had started a war that killed thousands. She felt anger, but she kept it controlled. Professional. The lead Vrekath diplomat, an old one with scales that had turned gray, looked at her for a long moment. Then he did something surprising. He bowed his head in respect. Captain Morgan, we have studied your people for a year now. We thought we understood you. We were mistaken. Yes, you were, Lisa said simply. We believed humans were weak because you avoid conflict when possible. We thought you were slow because you prefer to think before acting. We assumed you were fragile because you require specific conditions to survive. The diplomat's voice was quiet. We did not understand that these were not weaknesses. They were choices. You tried to kill us because we seemed like easy prey, Lisa said. You thought we would not fight back. Yes, we have learned our error. Humans do not fight because they enjoy it. They fight because they refuse to die. This makes them more dangerous than species who love war, because when humans fight, they fight to survive. And surviving is what humans do better than anyone. The negotiations took 2 weeks. The terms were simple. The Vrekath would retreat from all human territory. They would pay reparations for the colonies they attacked. They would share technology and establish trade. And most importantly, they would never attack humanity again. In exchange, humans would share some of the Forerunner data, not the weapons, not the military technology, but information about medicine, agriculture, energy production, things that could help both species. When the treaty was signed, Lisa felt tired. So tired. She had been fighting for half a year without rest. She had lost friends. She had seen things that would give her nightmares for years. But it was over now. Almost over. She returned to the Meridian to find her crew waiting for her. They had prepared a small celebration. Nothing fancy. Just good food and some music and the knowledge that they had survived. What are you going to do now, Captain? Amy asked. Lisa thought about it. I don't know. Earth Command wants me to train new captains. Show them how we fought. Pass on what we learned. Are you going to do it? Jake asked. Maybe, but first I think we all need a vacation. A real one. Somewhere quiet where nobody is shooting at us, Danny laughed. I don't think you know how to relax, Captain. Then I'll learn. We learned everything else, didn't we? They celebrated quietly, aware that other ships were still bringing wounded home, that families were still mourning losses. But they also knew that their job was done. They had fought. They had survived. They had proven something important. A month later, Lisa stood on Earth for the first time in 2 years. The sky was blue. The air smelled like grass and rain. She had forgotten how beautiful it was. A young reporter approached her asking for an interview. Lisa usually avoided these, but she was in a good mood. She agreed to answer a few questions. Captain Morgan, people are calling you a hero. How does that feel? I'm not a hero, Lisa said. I'm just someone who refused to die when someone tried to kill me. The Vrekath say you're the most dangerous human they've ever met. They say you think faster than their computers. That you can't be beaten. Lisa laughed. That's not true. I lost plenty of fights. I made mistakes. I got lucky more times than I can count. The only special thing about me is that I had 23 seconds to live and I decided to use them well. What would you say to other species who might be watching? Who might think humans are easy targets? Lisa looked directly at the camera. Her smile faded. Her voice became serious. I would say this. Humans are not warriors by nature. We would rather explore than fight. We would rather build than destroy. We prefer peace to war. But if you force us to fight, if you try to kill us, if you mistake our kindness for weakness, then you will learn something that the Vrekath learned the hard way. She paused, choosing her words carefully. You will learn that humans are the species that survived ice ages and plagues and disasters that should have wiped us out. We are the species that looked at the stars and decided to go there. We are the species that never gives up, never stops adapting, never accepts defeat. We are persistence hunters. We are survivors. And if you try to end us, you will discover that we will use every single second we have left to prove why that was a mistake. The interview ended. Lisa walked away from the camera, back toward her crew who were waiting for her. They had plans to visit Danny's family in California. Then Jake wanted to show them his hometown in Colorado. Amy had family in Texas. Karen wanted to see the ocean. They had time now. Time to heal. Time to remember who they were before the war. Time to become those people again. But Lisa knew, and her crew knew, and Earth knew, and now the Vrekath knew, and every other species in the galaxy would soon know. Humanity had changed. They had been tested in fire, and they had not broken. They had been pushed to the edge of extinction, and they had pushed back. They had proven something that the Vrekath would never forget, something that would be remembered for generations across 100 worlds. The Meridian moved slowly through the dead stars like a mouse creeping through a dark room full of traps. Every sensor on the ship screamed warnings. Gravity pulled in wrong directions. Space itself seemed twisted here, bent by ancient wars and weapons so powerful that they had broken reality. Danny's hands never left the controls. Sweat ran down his face. Captain, I have maybe 20 meters of clear sensor data ahead of us. After that, it's just guessing. Then guess well, Lisa said. She tried to sound confident, but inside she was terrified. The view screen showed things that should not exist. A sun that burned black instead of bright. Chunks of planets floating in formations that gravity should have destroyed millions of years ago. And structures. Massive beyond belief. Hanging in the void like metal ghosts. Karen's voice came over the intercom, tight with stress. Captain, the engines are not happy with the gravity fluctuations. I'm having to constantly adjust power levels. If this keeps up for more than a few days, something is going to break. Do your best, Lisa said. That's all I can ask. Hours passed. The crew worked in shifts, trying to rest when they could. But nobody really slept. The ship made strange sounds here. Metal creaking. Distant groaning that seemed to come from nowhere. Amy spent her time checking on crew members, making sure nobody was having a breakdown. Several people were close. Jake stayed at his station, monitoring everything. He barely moved except to drink coffee and study his screens. On the 4th hour, he suddenly sat up straight. Captain, I'm getting something. A signal. Lisa felt her heart jump. The Vrekath found a way in? No, this is different. It's old. Really old. And it's coming from that. He pointed at the main screen. Lisa looked. Through the twisted space and broken light, she could see a structure. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the biggest human space station. The design was strange, all curves and angles that hurt to look at. Parts of it glowed with a dim blue light. What is that? Danny asked. I don't know, Jake said. But the computer says it matches descriptions of Forerunner architecture. Everyone on the bridge went quiet. The Forerunners were a legend. A civilization so old and so advanced that they made every current spacefaring race look like children playing with toys. They had disappeared millions of years ago. But their structures remained, scattered across the galaxy. Most were dead. Some were dangerous. A few were both. The signal's getting stronger, Jake said. It's almost like it knows we're here. Like it's calling to us. Lisa made a decision that she knew might kill them all. But they were already in the dead stars. They were already taking impossible risks. What was one more? Danny, take us closer, slowly. The Meridian moved toward the Forerunner station. As they got nearer, more details became visible. The structure was damaged in places, but much of it looked intact. Docking ports lined its surface. Some were empty. Some held ships that were nothing but dust and rust now. "I'm seeing a port that looks stable," Danny said. "I think I can dock us there." "Do it," Lisa ordered. The docking procedure took 20 minutes of careful maneuvering. When the Meridian finally connected to the station, everyone on the bridge let out a breath they did not know they had been holding. "Seal is good," Danny reported. "Atmosphere on the other side reads as breathable. Barely. It's old and stale, but our suits can filter it." Lisa stood up. "Jake, Amy, come with me." "Danny, you have the bridge. If anything happens, if that station does anything that looks dangerous, you undock immediately and get out of here." "Captain." "I can't leave you," Danny protested. "That's an order," Lisa said firmly. "The crew needs someone to get them home if this goes bad." She selected 2 security officers, Nicole Grant and Kevin Ross, to join them. 5 people total, small enough to move quickly, large enough to handle problems. They put on their suits, checked their equipment, and gathered at the airlock. The door opened with a hiss. Beyond it was darkness and the smell of very old air. Lisa turned on her helmet light and stepped through. The interior of the station was like walking through a museum built by aliens who thought in completely different ways than humans. The walls curved at wrong angles. The floor was made of material that felt soft under her boots but did not leave footprints. Symbols covered every surface, glowing faintly with that same blue light. "Stay close," Lisa said. "We don't know what still works here." They walked deeper into the station. Their lights cut through the darkness, showing glimpses of rooms and corridors that seemed to go on forever. Jake kept checking his portable scanner, but it gave him mostly useless information. "The power source is somewhere ahead," he said. "It's still active. After millions of years, this thing still has power." They found a large room that might have been a control center. Screens covered the walls, all dark. In the center was a pedestal with a crystal floating above it. The crystal pulsed with light in time with a rhythm that Lisa realized matched a heartbeat. "Don't touch anything," she warned. Too late. Jake had already moved closer to examine the crystal. The moment he got within a meter of it, the room exploded into light. Screens flickered on. The crystal spun faster, and a voice filled the air, speaking in a language that their universal translators struggled to understand. Evaluating. Species identified as mammalian, bipedal, tool users, technological civilization, classification, potential inheritor species. Beginning qualification protocols. Captain?" Jake said nervously. "I think I just activated something." The floor beneath them suddenly became transparent. They could see down into massive chambers filled with technology that they could not begin to understand. Weapons, ships, things that might have been computers or might have been something else entirely. "State your purpose," the voice said. Now speaking in perfect English, Lisa stepped forward. Her mouth was dry, but she forced herself to speak clearly. "We're here by accident. We're running from an enemy. We came to the dead stars to escape them. Enemy species identified in records. Vrekath. Known hostile civilization. Evaluation continues. Why do you flee? Why not fight? We have 1 ship. They have 6 warships. We would lose. Humans defeated Neanderthal. Humans defeated saber-toothed predators. Humans defeated hostile environment on Origin planet. Why fear superior force now?" Lisa did not know how to answer that. The voice continued. "Qualification protocols beginning. Demonstrate tactical intelligence." The room changed. The screen showed a scenario, a battle in space. Multiple enemy ships surrounding a single friendly vessel. Lisa recognized it immediately. It was their fight with the Vrekath, but changed. "Made worse and solve," the voice commanded. Lisa looked at Jake. He shrugged helplessly. She turned back to the screens and studied the situation. It was impossible. Or it should have been. But she had survived an impossible situation just days ago. She started thinking out loud, working through the problem. The enemy expects us to run, so we don't run. We charge the weakest ship in their formation. Make them think we're desperate. When they adjust to intercept, we change course hard and use their own ship as a shield against the others. The screens flickered. The simulation played out exactly as she described. The single ship survived. Acceptable. Demonstrate endurance. The room filled with a strange gas. Lisa's suit filtered most of it, but she could feel it affecting her. Her muscles felt heavy. Her mind felt slow. The voice asked questions one after another, faster and faster. Math problems. Logic puzzles. tactical scenarios. She answered them all, even as her body screamed for rest. After what felt like hours, the gas cleared. Lisa was on her knees, gasping. Amy was checking her vital signs, looking worried. "Final test," the voice said. "Demonstrate moral foundation. Save your crew or save innocent alien refugees. Choose." A new simulation appeared on the screens. The Meridian in space, damaged and leaking air. Nearby, an alien refugee ship, also damaged. Both ships were dying. The Meridian had enough power to save itself or to save the refugee ship. Not both. Lisa stared at the scenario. This was not a fair question. There was no right answer. But the Forerunners did not care about fair. They wanted to see what she would do. She studied the simulation carefully, looked at every detail. The refugee ship had children on it. She could see their heat signatures on the sensors. The Meridian had her crew, her friends, her responsibility. But it also had something else. "I would use the Meridian's escape pods," she said slowly. "Load my crew into them. Use the ship's power to boost the refugee vessel. Then program the Meridian to explode after we evacuate. The explosion would give both ships enough momentum to reach the nearest safe zone." "You sacrifice your ship," the voice said. "Ships can be replaced. People can't. Your crew would likely face court-martial for losing a military vessel. Then I would take full responsibility." It was my call. The screens went dark. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the crystal above the pedestal glowed brighter than before. "Evaluation complete. Classification confirmed, inheritor species. Humans qualify to receive Forerunner legacy. Uploading defensive protocols. Uploading weapon specifications. Uploading communications network access codes. Good luck, little ones. The galaxy is more dangerous than you know." Light poured from the crystal into Jake's portable scanner. Data filled it faster than it could display. Thousands of files. Millions of pieces of... 3 weeks passed as the Meridian made its way back toward human space. 3 weeks of constant work, constant preparation. Karen and her engineering team spent every waking hour installing the Forerunner technology into the ship. It was like trying to fit a supercomputer into a wooden box. Nothing was designed to work together, but somehow they made it happen. Danny practiced with the new navigation systems every day. The Forerunner technology enhanced the ship's sensors and made it respond faster to his commands. He could see threats coming from twice as far away now. He could dodge obstacles that would have hit them before. Jake worked with the weapon systems, learning how they functioned. The Forerunner guns did not shoot bullets or plasma. They shot something else, something that his instruments called disruption beams. Whatever they were, they could cut through Rekath shields like tissue paper. The tests he ran on asteroids showed him that much. Amy studied the medical data that came with the Forerunner files. There were healing techniques there, ways to repair injuries that human doctors had always considered permanent. She spent her nights reading, learning, preparing for the wounded that she knew would come. Lisa divided her time between all of them, helping where she could, learning everything she could about their new capabilities, but mostly she thought about what was coming. War, real war, not just one ambush. The Rekath had attacked 3 human colonies while the Meridian was in the dead stars. Thousands were dead. Earth's defense fleets had fought back, but they were losing. The message from Earth Command was brief but clear. Hold position. Reinforcements coming. Be ready to fight, so they prepared. They trained. They turned a simple transport vessel into something that might survive what was coming. And they waited. On the 20th day, sensors picked up a battle. Nicole was on duty when the alert came in. She called Lisa to the bridge immediately. "Captain, there's a fight happening 2 hours away at faster than light speed. Multiple ships engaged." Lisa studied the sensor data. "Can you identify them?" "Some are human colony ships, transports and civilian vessels. The others are Rekath warships." Nicole's voice was tight. "Captain, it's a massacre. The colony ships are trying to run, but they're not fast enough." Lisa felt ice in her stomach. Those were her people out there. Humans, families, children, all running for their lives from Rekath guns. The old Lisa, the one from before the ambush, might have hesitated. She might have called for help, waited for support, played it safe. The new Lisa, the one who had survived 23 seconds of death and walked through a Forerunner station, did not hesitate at all. Battle stations. Danny, fastest speed to that fight. Jake, charge all weapons. Karen, I need maximum power to shields and guns. Captain, we're one ship, Jake said. There are 8 Rekath warships out there. Then we better make sure they remember us, Lisa said. She opened the ship-wide communication. All hands, this is the captain. We're going into a fight. Those are our people out there dying. We have technology that can make a difference. We have training. We have each other. And we have something the Vrikath will never understand. We have the refusal to quit. Morgan out. The Meridian jumped to faster than light speed, racing toward the battle. When they dropped back into normal space, the scene was exactly as bad as the sensors had shown. Human colony ships scattered across space, running in every direction. Vrikath warships hunting them down one by one. Escape pods floating in the void, tiny and helpless. Danny, take us in fast. Jake, target their lead ship. Let's make them notice us. The Meridian accelerated toward the battle. On the Vrikath command ship, alarms suddenly started blaring. A new contact had appeared, small but moving with purpose. The Vrikath captain barely had time to identify it as the human transport that had escaped weeks ago, before the Meridian opened fire. Forerunner disruption beams crossed the empty space in an instant. They hit the Vrikath ship's shields and did something that shields were not supposed to do. They failed, completely. In 1 second, the proud Vrikath warship's shields just stopped working. The second volley hit the hull directly. Metal melted. Compartments exploded into space. The Vrikath ship spun out of control, dead in space. Target destroyed, Jake said, his voice full of shock. Captain, those weapons just killed a warship in 2 hits. Good. Next target. The other Vrikath ships were turning now, realizing that something was very wrong. Their prey had grown teeth. They started to coordinate their attack, 7 ships moving to surround the single human vessel. But Danny was not flying a normal ship anymore. He was flying a ship with Forerunner navigation systems, and he was one of the best pilots humanity had ever produced. The Meridian moved like a dancer, like a fighter, like something that should not be possible for a ship that size. Vrikath plasma torpedoes streaked toward them. Danny saw them coming and rolled the ship in 3 dimensions at once. The torpedoes missed by centimeters. A Vrikath energy beam tried to lock onto them. Danny accelerated so hard that the crew felt it through the artificial gravity. The beam hit empty space. Lisa watched her tactical display and called out targets. Jake, that ship on our left hit their engines. Danny, after he fires, bring us around to face those 2 ships grouped together. The Meridian's gun spoke again. Another Vrikath ship lost its shields and then lost its engines. It started to drift, powerless. The Meridian spun on its axis and faced 2 Vrikath warships that were trying to coordinate a crossfire. They want to catch us between them, Lisa said. Don't let them. Danny, full speed right between them. Jake, fire on both as we pass. That's crazy, Danny said, but his hands were already moving. The Meridian charged straight at the gap between the 2 Vrikath ships. The alien captains could not believe what they were seeing. The human ship was committing suicide, flying directly into their combined fire. They both shot at once. Danny waited until the last possible moment. Then he rolled the ship 90 degrees. The Vrikath shots passed above and below the Meridian, missing by meters. And as the Meridian passed between them, Jake fired at both ships at once. The Forerunner weapons did not care that they were shooting in 2 directions at the same time. They hit both Vrikath ships, tore through their shields, and ripped their weapon systems apart. 2 more ships went dead. The remaining 4 Vrikath vessels broke formation. They were running now, trying to escape. But Lisa had not forgotten why they were here. Let them go, she ordered. Jake, stop firing. Danny, bring us around to the colony ships. The Meridian turned away from the fleeing Vrikath warships and moved toward the scattered human vessels. Lisa opened a communication channel to all of them. This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the transport ship Meridian. The Vrikath are retreating. You're safe now. Form up on my position and we'll escort you to the nearest human outpost. There was silence for a moment. Then the communication channels exploded with voices. Relief, joy, confusion, gratitude. The colony ships started to move together, following the Meridian like ducklings following their mother. One voice came through clearer than the others. Captain Morgan, this is Colony Transport New Hope. How did you do that? How did one ship beat 8 Vrikath warships? Lisa smiled tiredly. Long story. I'll tell you over drinks when we get somewhere safe. The convoy formed up and started moving away from the battle site. Behind them, the 4 surviving Vrikath ships regrouped in the distance, watching but not following. They were sending desperate messages back to their command, trying to explain what had just happened. On one of the Vrikath ships, the captain stared at his screens in disbelief. His people had studied humans for months. They had been certain that humans were weak, slow, poorly armed. The intelligence reports had been very clear about human capabilities. The intelligence reports had been completely wrong. Message to Fleet Command, the captain said quietly. The humans have acquired unknown technology.
Their capabilities exceed all previous estimates.
Recommend immediate withdrawal of all forces until we can understand what we are facing. But the message came too late. Because while the Meridian was saving one group of colony ships, Earth had been busy. Human engineers had been working day and night to understand the Forerunner data that Lisa had sent back. Human factories had been running at maximum capacity. Human defense fleets had been drilling with new tactics, new weapons, new hope. The Reketh had started this war thinking they would win quickly. They had calculated that human resistance would collapse in weeks. They had been certain of victory. They were about to learn that the most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate a species that refuses to stay down. Lisa stood on the bridge of the Meridian, watching the convoy of colony ships following them to safety. Amy came to stand beside her. You did good today, Amy said. We did good, Lisa corrected. All of us. This crew took a ship that should have died weeks ago and turned it into something that can fight back. What happens now? Lisa looked at the stars ahead. Now we take these people somewhere safe. Then we go back out there and we end this war. The Reketh wanted to kill us quietly. They wanted us to disappear without anyone knowing. Instead, we're going to make sure everyone knows exactly what happens when you threaten humanity. She turned to Jake. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the Meridian is operational and ready for combat duty. Tell them we're not